Hello you guys, this is Kim and bienvenidos to a timeless reading. In this reading, we will look into any situation that you are currently indecisive about and wondering whether you should stay or move on. Disclaimer, this reading is not intended to tell you what to do or what decision to make. This reading is only intended to provide you with as much information as possible about what your experience will be if you chose to stay versus if you chose to move on. Also, if you'd like, you can adapt this reading into an option A versus option B format if it better suits your current situation. Now, before I give you a closer look at the options, please remember that nothing is set in stone. The messages delivered in this reading are based on the current energy from whenever you are watching, which means that anything can change. Energy is always shifting and transforming. Your actions, decisions, and even way of thinking can shift the energy and therefore alter the future, which is why it is often said that you are the creator of your own destiny. But with that being said, let us now take a closer look at the options. So each option is a different reading, and there are 3 different options to choose from. So for option 1, we have the Chrysanthemum. For option 2, we have the lemon Verbena. And for option number 3, we have Milkvetch. So please take a moment to cast your gaze upon the options, meditate on them in order to see which one you are drawn to, because the one that you are drawn to will be the reading for you. And once you have chosen, please head on over to the comment section and or the description box down below where the timestamp for each group is provided so that you may skip right on over to your reading. Okay, but now that you have chosen, let's get right into your messages. Let's go. Hello you guys who chose group 1, the Chrysanthemum, bienvenidos to your reading. So when tapping into this group's energy, 2 messages came to mind, which were, we are here and we are working on it. Okay, but now let us move into the cards. So just a heads up, this reading is not here to tell you what is the best choice and or decision, whether you should stay or you should go. Rather, it is here to inform you on what will be your experience if you were to decide to stay versus if you chose to move on. Also, if you'd like, you can alter this reading in a way that best suits your current needs and or situation. So for example, if you'd like, this could be an option A, option B kind of reading, or what happens if you say yes versus what happens if you say no. Okay, so now let us begin. So first, let me pull out some cards to find out what will happen if you decide to stay. Wow, okay, so we have number 19, the Sun of Life, and this is the Sun card in traditional tarot. And what will happen if you choose to move on? I feel like I should shuffle this one more time. Shuffle one more. Sorry about that. I was going to mention, when I was tapping into this group's energy, there was a moment in which I felt drained. I even felt my physical body go limp. And right now, when I was shuffling the cards that I let them fall down, I felt that again. Like the energy leaving me. So there could be a situation that you're currently experiencing that might be quite draining. But we have the Knight of Bows with Fox, and this is the Knight of Wands in traditional tarot. But seeing that I experienced this feeling when I was shuffling the deck to pull out a card for what would happen if you choose to move on. That could be an indicator of how you will be feeling if you do choose to move on. Because you didn't notice how fast this Sun card came out, and it felt so nicely on its spot. So yeah, you could be facing some challenges if you do decide to move on, or the simple act of moving on could be very challenging for you. Could take a lot from you, especially energetically. Yeah, because both of these cards are fire energy, and that makes me think of vitality. Okay, but let me pull out the rest of the cards for what would happen if you choose to stay. So we have Ceres, I believe that's how it's pronounced, with fertility, nourishment, motherhood, family, and animals. And what would happen if you choose to move on? Okay, let me shuffle. Oh, okay, let me try this one more time. Okay, so we have conjunction with strongest aspects in a chart, combustion of two energies, two planet signs merging together. Okay, so clarifier for what will happen if you choose to stay. And we have potential. The cards for this section of the reading are falling out so nicely and with such ease. And the cards for what will happen if you choose to move on are taking a while to fall out, and when they do end up falling out, it's quite messy. So let's see one card for what will happen if you choose to move on. And we have time. And for our last clarifying card, we have a tarot card. Oh, you see how fast they are falling out for this section? But we have the Two of Wands in the horizontal position, and that is how I'm going to take it. But let me read the messages meant for this card when it falls upright. So we have personal power, moving forward, and embracing change. And when it's in reverse, we have doubt, fearing the unknown, and being restless. Okay. And for what would happen if you choose to move on. What? Okay, we have the Star in the horizontal position as well, and when this card is upright, the messages on it read faith, renewal, and healing, and when it's in reverse, we have hopelessness, boredom, and uninspired. Okay, so I noticed that when I began shuffling the decks for the what will happen if you move on section of this reading, I began feeling very nervous and my hands were quite shaky. So yeah, there could be a lot of hesitation or wariness when it comes to moving on from something, possibly saying no or this option over here, if you are taking this as in option A, option B kind of reading. But let us begin by interpreting the cards and what will happen if you choose to stay. So the Sun of Life, or the Sun card, is a very optimistic and favorable card. It's a card that speaks about success, joy, positivity, freedom, vitality, openness, happiness. And interestingly enough, the Sun card can often also indicate birth, life, pregnancy. And we do have this energy of motherhood, family, fertility. And then in potential, we do have a seed, which makes me think of birth, new life. So there's a lot of, I will say, positive energy for what will happen if you stay. I am seeing new beginnings. I am seeing potential for growth, for improvement, for progress. And it's so beautiful how we have the Sun card and then we have a seed right under. So it's like there is prosperity in this situation, right? Because we not only have the seed that, if nurtured properly, can in the future and in the long term bring a lot of fruition and abundance. We also have the Sun card that represents that nurturing energy that will ensure this seed grows and bears fruit. And the beautiful thing about this seed in specific is that it has already rooted, right? So we know that there is already some growth here. There is already some foundations. So I would say in this situation, you have already put in some work. You already have laid some foundations. There is already some kind of promise, I would say. And, you know, the sun lets us know that there is a high possibility that whatever has been planted here, whatever has already started, whatever is already in the works, of it becoming something successful, of it growing into what it's meant to grow into, of it reaching its fullest potential. Because like I said, it is the sun that nourishes the seed for it to grow. And then we literally have this energy of nourishment. So it feels like in this situation, there already exist all the tools necessary, all the resources necessary for something to prosper, for something to grow, and for something, I will say, to be long term. Because a seed, it takes a while for it to grow. And this card, the Sun of Life card, is so lovely because we have a person who is in their birthday suits, but so unabashed because their posture is open and proud. So the Sun card also represents confidence. And I'm seeing here a situation in which someone is standing in their power. Someone is feeling fulfilled and empowered by what it is that they're doing or what they have chosen. And in this image, we see this person with their heart chakra, their heart center, open and activated. This lets me know that there is vulnerability here. The sun is often associated with the solar plexus chakra, which is an energy center that deals with our sense of self, our confidence, our self-esteem, and it is also the energy center that connects with masculine energy. And masculine energy is all about taking action. It's about bringing the visions of the feminine into life. And there is a lot of growth here. We actually literally have flowers growing here. So this lets me know again that this seed has a high likelihood, a really high chance of it prospering, of it growing into something beautiful. And also a really high potential of this one seed growing into a beautiful garden or a beautiful field of flowers. So in other words, a lot more can come from one single thing. So because we do have this energy of family, an example that is coming to mind, it's like if you choose to stay, there is a high likelihood that you will create and or have a family of your own and create a legacy. And because I'm thinking of a family tree, right? So your children will have their children and their children will have their children and so forth, and everyone will be remembered. Yeah, because with series, I am being reminded of the Empress in Tarot, which is the third major arcana, and the number 3 is all about growth and expansion. So going back to that family example, I'm not only seeing this in terms of, let's say, if you do plan to have children, you having children and your children eventually growing up and having children of their own, but I'm also seeing it in a sense of your family growing the moment that you decide to partner up with somebody, right? Because your partner will have a family of their own, their parents, right? And if they have siblings, that would be their family. And so by simply partnering up with someone, you become part of their family. You're not only marrying someone, but you're also marrying into a family, into an already established family. And that's how your family grows. I'm seeing something like building very strong bonds, very beautiful relationships that are nourishing, that are giving, full of love and full of life. Yeah, because these roots are also making me think of networking. Yeah, so in this situation, if you do choose to stay, I am seeing you building beautiful relationships and our connections and building a beautiful family or a beautiful community or network. And seeing that we have this heart chakra fully active and open, I am also seeing you pursuing and are doing something that is very fulfilling to you, that not only inspires you, but it also motivates you to keep on giving, keep on working, because it's so fulfilling in and of itself. You know, like the sun, all it has to do is radiate outwards, shine its light, share its warmth, and life blooms. So much grows and prospers. Yeah, and because we have motherhood, it kind of reminds me of motherhood, you know, like when mothers say that simply seeing their children and or their family eat fills them with content and fills them up. But I do want to say that this is not at all a sacrificing energy. If it is coming through that way, I apologize, because that's not the vibe I'm getting. I mean, we have the Sun card here. This card represents masculine energy, and masculine energy stands in its power, knows its boundaries. They are the protector, the overseer, the provider, but they also know to take care of themselves, to nourish themselves, fill themselves with life, to continue to be the light that they are. Yeah, and with motherhood, I am seeing this beautiful balance of masculine and feminine energy. So I'm also seeing in this situation a specific beautiful relationship, connection, and or bond. You uniting or partnering up with or being in union with your counterpart, your equal, you know, the masculine to your feminine, the feminine to your masculine, the one that balances you out. But in this situation, if you do choose to say, I also see you coming into this beautiful inner balance where you can both express your masculine and your feminine energy, where you can feel free to be vulnerable, to be nourishing, as well as stand in your power, have your boundaries. The Sun of Life also makes me think of independence, having something that you can claim as your own. Because we do have this beautiful field of flowers, it's making me think of like having your own garden, your own space that you can nourish, that you can give life to and see grow. So I do see you having something of your own, as mentioned. So this could be a business, this could be a hobby, a personal project, a creative endeavor that you are dedicating yourself to and are seeing prosper, seeing grow. And the Sun of Life also makes me think of feeling proud. So whatever it is that you have here that is your own, because you created it, because you're the one who is nourishing it, I see you feeling very proud of this. And I see this being one of the things that kind of gets you looking forward to the day and looking forward to the next day, because you know you have this thing to tend to. Now, the Two of Wands fell out in the horizontal position, and when cards fall out in this direction, I always interpret that as either a stagnant, blocked energy or as it representing the foundation in which the overall energy is being grounded on. And for this specific reading, I am interpreting this as representing the foundation of this overall energy. So the Two of Wands, when it is upright, indicates decisions, options. It represents planning, looking forward to the future, what is to come. It can also indicate overseas travel and this feeling of restlessness. You know, because the Two of Wands upright, it's about wondering what is out there, wanting to find out. And when it's in reverse, it indicates fear of change, indecisiveness. So having this as the foundation, if you do decide to stay, I do see you coming into your own or reclaiming your power. I see a lot of you reconnecting with your confidence and or finding your confidence for the very first time. I don't know why, but I am getting entrepreneurship vibes from these cards. So some of you could possibly be starting your own business or making plans to start your own business, or you could very well be, if you aren't already, becoming an entrepreneur if you do choose to stay or choose this option. Yeah, because with the Two of Wands being your foundation, I do see this hunger for more awakening within you. There is an ambition here, a drive to pursue your dreams, to achieve certain goals. And I see a lot of you, if you do choose to stay or you choose this option, awakening to new dreams. Like maybe currently at this moment you have some idea of what it is that you want to do, what it is that you want to create and or pursue. You could already be, even as mentioned, working on some goals or a specific goal. But there is this overall feeling of this is just the beginning. You think that this is the big dream, you think that this is the big goal, but in reality, this is just the stepping stone that will guide you to something more. Because I did mention the Empress, which is about expansion and growth. And so I do feel like there is some bigger picture that you have yet to really see. Because with these roots, I am seeing that one thing will lead to another. Now I'm being given the example of a college student. You know, they enter college thinking that they want to major in something, but then once they start taking courses, they realize that, wait a minute, they're actually really passionate about this other career. And they end up majoring in something completely different, or they graduate from college with a degree on a specific field, and then they end up working in something related to what they study, but not quite it. Yet it is the thing that lights them up inside. So that's the kind of vibe I'm getting here. It's like one thing will lead to another. You might think that this is what you want, but this is the thing that will lead you to something that will be even more fulfilling to you, that will light you up from the inside out and possibly even activate you, is how it's coming through. And I will say this situation here, I did mention beautiful connections and partnerships, and I do see that, especially in the long run. But I also did mention a specific bond and or connection, right? You partnering up with someone who balances you out very nicely and who creates and or provides space for you to show up in both your masculine and feminine energies, in your totality, in other words. And I do see that, but for some, it might be more further down the road, whereas for others of you, it might be more in your immediate future, when you will come into union with someone who will complement you, who will have no problem with letting you shine, be in the spotlight. Because I do feel that for some, by you choosing this option and or staying, you will have to venture out on your own for a while. I am seeing a bit of a solo journey at the beginning for some. And I don't mean this as you will be completely alone with no support whatsoever, because I do see you being surrounded by supportive figures. And actually, one of the first messages that came through for this reading was, we are working on it, right? The word we came through. So it does seem like you have people who will help you out along the way. There will always be people who will help you out along the way. But I am seeing that you might be needing to do some things or start some things on your own. Like, for example, just as an example, because we do have motherhood here, maybe by staying in this situation and or choosing this option, some of you will be a single parent for a while. You could be raising a child on your own for a while before you meet someone who you can be a parent with. For others of you, this could be about starting something completely new, something that has never been seen before. And so because it has never been seen before or tried out before, it might feel a bit like a lonesome journey. Yeah, there's this feeling of you kind of needing to push yourself, be the one to push yourself and motivate yourself for a while. But you doing it and doing it beautifully. And I will say, I'm even getting an effortless kind of vibe from these cards. Yeah, and it's often said that when you're pursuing your calling or following your passion, things seem almost effortless. I don't know if this is 100% true, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting for this situation. Yeah, so there's a lot of prosperity here. There's a lot of potential for growth, for expansion, for beauty. And because the Two of Wands can indicate traveling, I do see a lot of you starting anew somewhere else. So if you have always thought about relocating, I do see that happening here. Yeah, and because we do have this horse in the background, which is making me think of like ancestors, for a lot of you who are really connected to or called to ancestral lands, if you currently reside somewhere far from your ancestral lands, I do see you going back to and or relocating to these ancestral lands. Yeah, there's this feeling of like going back to your origins, or if not that, I do see you relocating somewhere that feels very much in alignment with you. Somewhere that allows for you to prosper. Somewhere that you find very beautiful. Somewhere that also is really good for your physical and mental health. Yeah, and I see you setting roots there. So that could be the place where you will, if you plan to have a family, you will have your family in, and will be a place of origin. It's how it's coming through. Will be the home that everyone will come back to or think of when they think of home. Like I said, you're leaving a legacy. You're not only creating foundations and or establishing roots for you, but you're doing so maybe unknowingly for generations to come as well. And now moving on to what will happen if you choose to move on. We do have the Knight of Bows, which is associated with fire signs. So this will be Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. And I forgot to mention that the Sun card is associated with the zodiac sign Leo. So some of you could be a Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or maybe if it does resonate that you are looking for and are wanting to unite with your counterpart, with your equal, they could be a Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or just embody and exude a lot of Leo-like qualities. So someone who is very confident, someone who is passionate, creative, and larger than life is how it's coming through. But with the Knight of Bows, this is a very playful, very energetic character as well. Someone who is full of vitality, someone who is full of curiosity and wonder. This is someone who has a very difficult time remaining in one place because they have this desire to explore, to keep on exploring. Them staying in one place for too long feels almost suffocating to them because that to them screams stagnancy, and they do not like that. Because of this curiosity, because of this desire to explore, the Fox or the Knight of Wands can be a flighty energy, right? So it's not exactly someone whom you can make commitments with and or rely on 100%, because they could be there one moment and then the next they could be gone. So with time being here, the message that came through when I saw this card was only time will tell. And I do get the feeling that in this situation, if you decide to move on, there will be a lot of what ifs. There will be a lot of uncertainties and unknowns. We do have this energy of conjunction, which talks about two energies merging together, usually two energies that are quite compatible. But I'm actually not very familiar with astrology, so if I get this wrong, I apologize, but just know I'm not only interpreting these cards based on their original or traditional meaning, I'm also interpreting the spread based on what I am picking up on intuitive. So my intuitive interpretation of this conjunction card is of amplification. When conjunction shows up, it amplifies the main energy or the overall energy. So because I was picking up on depletion and wariness when I was pulling out the cards for this section, if that is how you currently feel about this situation, like when you think about moving on or when you think about choosing this option, you start feeling very hesitant and doubtful and wary and drained, then this is the kind of energy I see doubling if you do decide to choose this path. It's like the uncertainty won't go away. That feeling of wariness, it won't go away. It will persevere and become even stronger. Now, the Star card did fall out in the horizontal position, and I am seeing this representing blockages. So the Star card, when it is upright, it represents hope, faith, and I would also say it indicates guidance, because the star makes me think of the North Star, which is a star that is used for guidance. And when the Star card is in reverse, it indicates hopelessness, despair, boredom, monotony, lack of inspiration. So this lets me know that there's gonna be a lot of this feeling of being led on, like only running on hope, right? But hope doesn't really guarantee anything. It just keeps us holding on to a possibility, to the potential of something. Yeah, with time, I see you often thinking to yourself like, okay, in due time, or things will get better someday, or things will turn around for the better someday. But then time passes and it passes and things are pretty much the same. So the overall vibe I'm getting here, it's of clinging on to false hope. Yeah, because the fox now, it's making me think of a misleading energy. Like something is misleading you. Something is making you believe that it has potential when it really doesn't. This fox is making pretty promises to you, but that it has no intention of fulfilling, of staying true to them. But it's these pretty promises that keep you going, that keep you holding on. Yeah, so because I did mention that the fox can be quite flighty, an example that is coming to mind is of someone who keeps waiting for this fox to come back, or has hopes that this fox will outgrow this phase of being in and out, of being mischievous, of being flighty, of being dishonest. It's like there's hopes that this fox will see the light of day and choose to stay, or choose commitment, or choose to see something through. But it's all hopes. It's nothing certain. Yeah, because the message that I just heard in my mind was, they'll figure it out. This fox will figure it out. Let's just give them some time. Let's just give them some time. Yeah, so it's like we're waiting for this star card energy to turn upright, which will indicate that this fox has found their way, that now there is real promise. It's not just a wish, it's not just a dream anymore, but it's a wish coming true. It's a dream in the making now. But so far, this star card stays in the horizontal position. So this is not to say that this fox will never find their way, but who knows how long it will take before they do. And this Knight of Bows, this fox, could be someone in specific who is in and out of your life, or this could be your energy. Yeah, which indicates that if you were to choose this option, or if you were to choose to move on, it might be a while before you gain the clarity, or have the clarity to know what next step to take, to know what it is that you do want to pursue, or to have a new dream. Yeah, this is not to say that it will never happen, because like I said, this star card can always turn upright. It might take some time, and we don't know exactly how much time. And that's the thing, that's the unknown, that's the uncertainty. So in this situation, I do see you embarking on a lot of little adventures. And I say little because I feel like they will be short-lived. So in terms to, let's say, projects, these would be small projects, or maybe projects that you start but don't see them through. Yeah, because with time, the vibe I'm getting here is like time is running out, we need to move on to the next thing. So there might be a lot of like starting things but not finishing them, or jumping from one thing to another. And this could also be a time of exploration, right? Because the Knight of Bows, I did mention, is a very explorative character. So if it is the case that you are not so sure as to what next step to take, this situation here would be you venturing into different things, trying out different things in order to gain that clarity of what it is that lights you up, what it is that you're passionate about, what it is that you want to stick with and see through. Yeah, so I see a lot of you exploring if you choose to move on, or if you choose this option. And like I said, it might take some time before you find a thing that you want to pursue fully, or invest in fully. Whereas here in this situation, if you decide to stay, there is more certainty here. It feels more immediate. Like there seems to be progress and movement right away. Yeah, especially if you have already started something, and this is the thing that you continue to stick with. Like I see things progressing. Whereas here, it's like stepping into the unknown. And the star card is associated with the zodiac sign Aquarius, which is a zodiac sign that is often associated with the pioneer. because it is very ingenuitive and eccentric. Yeah, so for some, if it is the case that you decide to move on and you do decide to set off on this journey to find out what it is that you want in life, like what are your dreams, the reason why this might take some time, it could be because what it is that you will end up pursuing and or focusing on will be something, like I said with this energy, that has not been seen before. So for example, let's say if currently you're in the process of finding out what career path to take, but you've explored a few career paths, but none of them seems like a good fit. It could be because actually what you're looking for, what is meant for you, what is in alignment with you, it's not out there. It doesn't exist in the here and now. So if you go out and try to find it, you won't find it because the one who will create it is you. So it might take you a while for you to realize that. And I mean, when we're creating something from scratch, that's gonna take a while, not only to create it, but also to think of it. Like, what is the thing that we want to create? If it's never been seen before, you have to dream it up first, envision it first, and that might take a while. So that might be the reason why we have this energy of time. Like, it's unknown how much time it will take for you to find what it is that you're looking for. So it's very much like this energy over here. It's just a different path. Yeah, so you know what this is reminding me of? When they say that there are multiple ways to one destination, it feels like that. Like these are two different paths that will eventually lead to the same destination. Only that in one situation, we're like building up to it. We're taking stepping stones towards it. While in this other situation, in option B, let's say, we're kind of wandering for a bit, feeling lost for a while until we get there, until we find what it is that we're looking for. But remember, I'm being reminded of the J.R.R. Tolkien quote from the book The Hobbit. Not all those who wander are lost. Yeah, so it might feel like you're wandering for a bit, but actually you're finding your way. But let me pull out a last oracle card for each situation. So what happens if you choose to stay? We have a romance with Venus in Taurus, the second house, and we also have more Venus energy with Capricorn, the 10th house, and the key term convention. Interesting. Yeah, so I didn't mention a partnership, right? So with this romance here, I am seeing a beautiful romantic partnership connection in this situation here if you do choose to stay. The second house talks about material possessions, finances, wealth, loss, and gains. And then the 10th house, it's the house of social status, career, profession, life direction, achievement, as well as one's public image. So I do see financial prosperity if you do choose to stay. And with the sun being here in the 10th house, I do see recognition as well. So yeah, some of you, if you do decide to put your name out there, put yourself out there, put your work out there, I do see you gaining a lot of attention, a lot of recognition, and the sun of life literally indicates exposure. So I do see you getting positive exposure as well. Some of you could even end up being in the public eye, or you could end up having a following, because this garden is making me think of like followers or a community, an audience. And with all this Venus energy here, Venus is about beauty, sensuality, creativity, the arts. The goddess Venus is the goddess of love, companionship. So as mentioned, I do see you forming beautiful relationships and connections along this journey if you choose to stay. And I also see a lot of beauty. It could be that some of you will be choosing to pursue or continue pursuing a creative art form, something related to beauty. Yeah, because the feeling I'm getting here is of you creating beauty and or accentuating the beauty that is already out there. This could also be indicating that you and what you do will be adding beauty to the world, because I do see your own beauty blossoming. The sun is literally a magnet, and with all this Venusian energy, you are definitely radiating. So some of you could be going through what most people call a glow up. And I also see you bringing a lot of new ideas to the table. Ideas that will really inspire others and help empower others, that will help others see the beauty within them or the beauty in themselves. But with all this nature here, it's very possible that a lot of you could also be helping to create more beauty in the sense of helping nature grow, helping nature prosper, or helping environments, spaces prosper. Yeah, because we have a garden here in convention. Yeah, some of you could even be like thinking about interior designing, architecture, and what I'm seeing here with all this nature in this building, I'm also thinking of like sustainable living, sustainable architecture, gardening, landscaping. Yeah, there's a lot of like career paths, professions that I'm seeing here, but what I'm seeing is that you are creating beauty, helping maintain beauty, helping accentuate the beauty that is already out there, or this could simply mean that you will be living a very beautiful life, whatever that might mean to you in specific. Because I'm just seeing so much joy here, so much love, so much passion for life. This is also making me think of like romanticizing your life, especially with Taurus being here, which is a very Venusian energy. It's like living a very, it could be a very extravagant or luxurious lifestyle, but this could be like living a very idyllic lifestyle. Yeah, some of you could end up living near a forest or near the woods or the countryside. I'm even seeing like a little cabin or somewhere very close to nature. If it's not the forest, if it's not the woods, it could be next to the ocean, next to the sea, or next to a lake. But there's definitely a lot of nature around you in this path. And with this romance card and then the 10th house energy being here, for a lot of you, I keep mentioning, bringing that up, but I did mention a bond with someone who will balance you out and someone who will allow for you to show up in both your masculine and feminine energy. And so this person could actually be someone that you will not only come into union with in a romantic way or to start a family with, but it will also be someone who you will work with, someone who will also be your business partner, or someone who you will be co-creating with. Yeah, and with this angel or Cupid being here in the background, it seems like this partnership, this union is being blessed. It's being divinely guided or looked after because there's so much prosperity coming from this union and our partnership. Because I did mention a legacy, and this is making me think of an institution. So a lot of you could actually be building quite a substantial amount of wealth, so much so that sometime in the future you will be donating to certain institutions, or you will be helping, because I did think about like foundations and creating something from the ground up. You will be helping to build something. So it could be build an institution or build a community or build a physical space that is meant to be a safe space for others or for a community. Some of you could end up being philanthropists and doing a lot of humanitarian causes or helping the environment. Yeah, because this is making me think of like when someone donates like to an institution and then they put a plaque of their name somewhere or they name a building after them. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. Yeah, so you will be leaving a legacy. I feel like something will be named after you. or you will be building something from the ground up. But let me now pull a card for what happens if you choose to move on. So we have the Sun and Aries, so more fire energy with assertion, the first house. And we also have more fire energy with Leo. Mercury in Leo, the 5th house with drama. This Mercury in Leo energy is making me think of miscommunication. So there could be a lot of miscommunication going on in this situation, which might lead to drama, which might lead to people butting heads or misinterpreting things. But this card in specific also represents a flighty energy because it does talk about brief affairs. So yeah, like I said, if you choose to move on, you could find yourself in situations in which things don't last very long, or you lose interest in things quite quickly, because we do have Sun in Aries, and Aries is very passionate. Aries can also be a bit impulsive at times. Yeah, you could be jumping from one thing to another, or you could, with time here, I keep getting this feeling of someone feeling like time is running out. Like they should move quicker because time is running out for them. So there could be this constant feeling of you not having enough time, or you needing to always be on the go, go, go. Maybe you will end up pursuing something that will require for you to always be on the go, go, go. You might find it difficult to take some time to slow down and contemplate on things and introspect and so forth. Yeah, some of you could be pursuing something or doing something that is very time consuming. Like when you're in it, when you're doing it, you lose track of time, and that might be the reason why you end up feeling like you're losing time or you're running out of time. Yeah, because drama and assertion, it's making me think of like the entertainment business, or a profession where there's no set schedule. It's always changing. Yeah, there's this feeling of something's always changing, something's always moving. It's never stable. It's never in one place. Yeah, so if you like that, always being on the go, 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 or things always changing, especially maybe at the last minute, then that's the kind of vibe I'm picking up here. But with assertion and drama, I am seeing quite a bit of drama. I am also seeing a bit of opposition and competition. It's possible some of you will be studying or working in a very competitive field or industry. I will say that if you choose to move on, this path will require for you to be very assertive, for you to stand your ground, for you to speak up, because if not, your voice can get lost in the noise, because I do see there being a lot of noise. There being a lot of people who are not afraid to roar and roar loudly. These are people who are used to being heard and are used to speaking over others, or having their way. So there is this heads up of, in order to thrive in this situation, you need to know how to stand up for yourself. You need to know how to be assertive. It will also require for you to be courageous. This path will require a specific kind of strength from you. And I'm not talking about physical strength. I'm talking about an emotional kind of strength, kind of building thick skin. Again, remember how I mentioned that this all to me seems like two paths that will ultimately lead to the same destination? And I'm picking up on that vibe again, because we do have this Leo energy here, which we had here with the Sun of Life. And what I was going to mention is that all these challenges and oppositions, their ultimate intention or purpose is for you to, if you are struggling with confidence at this moment, is to find your confidence and build your confidence, for you to be more assertive, for you to stand in your power, for you to learn how to speak up, for you to know what your boundaries are and how to assert them. And with the star energy being here, this is also giving me vibes of learning to believe in yourself. Yeah, so we'll call this option A, and we'll call this one option B. And both of these options will ultimately prepare you for the same thing, is how it's coming through. Or they will end up teaching you the same lessons in different ways, but the lessons will be the same. So option B feels a little bit like tough love to me, and option A feels a little bit more like positive reinforcement and encouragement. And I will say both of them seem like quite an adventure, but option B has a little bit more of that adventure-like quality to it. Because I did mention The Hobbit, right? I did quote The Hobbit, and that's kind of the vibe I was picking up on. It's like venturing out into the unknown. And I just saw someone running around with an order of coffees, and that made me think of Devil Wears Prada, the movie. Yeah, so you could be Andrea in this situation, coming across a Miranda, or you could end up working in a field or a line of work or profession that is very much like that of Andrea's character, that is very fast-paced and a bit unpredictable. Yeah, so The Devil Wears Prada was focused and centered on the fashion industry. And I did mention like entertainment industry, so it could have something to do with that. Entertainment, fashion, the arts. Yeah, and that profession, that field of work, it's very on the go, go, go. You know, Andrea never seemed to catch a break, and she was always living a bit in uncertainty. Because Miranda, though very professional when it came to her work, she was a bit flighty. You know, her moods swung quite a bit, and so one was never certain where they stood when it came to their relationship with her. And Miranda was Andrea's boss. Yeah, but just like Andrea in The Devil Wears Prada, I do see you finding your confidence and what it is that actually matters to you and what it is that you want to pursue. Yeah, so it might take you some time, but I do see you finding your way, just like Andrea did. Maybe some of you have recently watched that movie, The Devil Wears Prada, or you're planning to. But if you haven't watched that movie, I do recommend it. It's a really good movie. And I do feel like you might resonate with it, or there might be something in that movie that will really stand out to you. Also, if the movie Look Both Ways on Netflix is available to you, I do recommend for you to watch it, because this movie is all about how two different paths can lead to a similar outcome. But things I want to point out quickly, I did mention the zodiac signs that seeing with the cards. So Leo, Aquarius, fire signs, Leo, Sagittarius, Aries, and then we have more Aries here, more Leo, and then we also have earth signs with Taurus and Capricorn. So having a lot of earth here, with option A, I'm seeing a lot of stability, I'm seeing structure, I'm seeing longevity. There is some level of certainty here, like knowing what's coming, knowing what's next, planning for the future, being prepared, and so forth. And having reliable figures around you. And then in this energy, we have a lot of fire. So very action orientated, very passionate, a bit of a risk taker kind of vibe. There is a lot of unknowns here, I would say. But I will also say that there is a lot of excitement from coming from that unknown. Yeah, and I do want to point out the numbers in case they are of significance. So we have the number 19, 2, 10, another 2, 1, 5, and the star is the 17th major arcana of the deck. Yep, that is all for now. I am wishing you a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on when you're watching this video, and until the next moment, bye bye! Hello you guys who chose the lemon verbena, bienvenidos to your reading. So when connecting with the energy of this group, I did pick up on a bit of a nervous energy, and I got this sensation that a lot of you are currently struggling with accepting some kind of truth. Either you have been recently given some very important information, or something has been revealed to you, and this revelation, this information, you're kind of struggling to accept it. It sort of feels like there's a truth that is very hard to swallow. And for others, I am sensing fear around hearing something in specific. Yeah, so I'm not sure if for some of you there is something that is currently on your mind, or something that you have been speculating that you're very worried about it being true. Yeah, but overall, I do feel like there's something that you guys are avoiding. You're not wanting to see it, you're not wanting to accept it, you're not wanting to hear it. But, okay, now let us move into the cards. A quick disclaimer before I begin. This reading is not intended to tell you what to do or to tell you what is the answer or the best choice for you, but rather it is simply here to inform you about what will be your experience if you do choose to stay versus if you choose to move on. And I also want to point out that you can adapt this reading to your specific needs and or situation. So for example, if you at this moment are trying to pick between two options, then this could turn into an option A versus option B kind of reading, or it could turn into a what happens if I say yes versus what happens if I say no kind of reading. Okay, but let us begin. So all the cards that I will be placing on this side of the table will inform us about what will happen if you choose to stay. And the cards that I will be placing on this side of the table will inform us about what will happen if you choose to move on. Okay, so now I will pull out a card to find out what will occur if you do choose to stay. And we have number 18, the moon on water, and this will be the moon card in traditional tarot. Okay, so now I'm going to pull out a card to find out what will happen if you choose to move on. Ooh. Oh, okay. And we have the Archer, and this will be the Chariot in traditional tarot. And now I am going to pull out the clarifiers. So, what will be your experience if you choose to stay? And we have the 6th house with daily routines, health, fitness, pets, work ethic, organization, and service. And a card for what will be your experience if you choose to move on. Oh, those are too many cards. Okay. And we have the waxing gibbous with redirection, adjustment, and flexibility. Okay, so one card for what will happen if you choose to stay. Okay, and we have transformation in reverse. And one card, oh, that was fast, for what will happen if you choose to move on, and we have balance. And for our last clarifier, so what will happen if you choose to stay? Okay, so, oh, those are too many cards. I'm going to try one more time. Okay, there we have it. We have the 3 of Wands, upright with leadership, moving forward, and initiative. And one card for what will happen if you choose to move on. And we have the 9 of Swords in reverse with reaching out, learning to cope, and hope for tomorrow. Okay, interesting. Okay, so I will start off by looking into what will be your experience if you choose to stay. So the Moon card often indicates a sense of mystery and ambiguity. It's a card that speaks about hidden truths. The Moon on water can also talk about not seeing things clearly. It's a card of illusions, or it's a card of not wanting to see what is right there in front of you. Because as you can see, even in this card, we have an illusion, right? What seems to be a reflection of the moon is actually an egg underwater. And the egg is making me think of an Easter egg, like a clue, a missing link. So I am sensing a lot of ambiguity, a lot of mystery, a lot of unknowns if you do choose to stay in this situation. If currently you are feeling a bit unclear or maybe even a bit confused, then I am sensing that this confusion will continue if you do choose to stay. Now, the moon can often also represent fears, anxiety, because the moon connects with our subconscious, and the moon is also the ruler of the tides of water, and water is often associated with emotions, with feelings, with intuition. So with the 6th house being here, which is the house of health, I am seeing some struggles when it comes to anxiety. Whatever this situation is, it does seem to take a toll on your mental health and our mental well-being. Or if you are currently struggling with your mental health or trying to improve your mental well-being, I am seeing that staying in this situation might not be very conducive to you improving your mental health and our mental well-being, because we do have transformation in reverse. And this lets me know that there is something blocking growth and progress. Now it's interesting that we have the Three of Wands upright, because this card, as it says here, indicates moving forward. It is a card of freedom, of success, of expansion, creativity, ambition, and adventure. So what this is letting me know is that there is a desire for growth, for expansion, for improvement, for betterment and transformation. I do feel like you guys are craving and yearning for something more. So because there is a desire for you to move on or for you to move forward, I am seeing a bit of an avoidant tendency going on here. And if I recall correctly, the 6th house card actually fell out in reverse. I turned it upright, but it fell out in reverse. So this very much feels like a situation in which someone is avoiding learning the lessons, or they're avoiding, in a way, doing the work. It could be the inner work, or it could be work like, organizing certain things or making a plan, creating routine, creating structure in their life to help facilitate things for them. Yeah, because since the moon is associated with emotions, I am seeing a situation here in which someone is avoiding, feeling through their emotions, or avoiding to assess how a certain situation makes them feel. Yeah, we even have a bull here standing firm on this little island, and bulls always make me think of stubbornness. So I do get the feeling that in this situation there is a resistance to seeing the reality of something. There is even a resistance to feeling through certain emotions, because the Three of Wands gives me this feeling of someone pretending as if everything is okay, or someone moving on very quickly so that they don't have to sit and feel through their emotions. It's like someone always wanting to be on the go, so they don't have to deal with this inner work stuff. I'm seeing a situation in which someone tries something out and it doesn't work out, and instead of taking a moment to analyze the situation in order to find out why this didn't work out, or what could have been done better, or what was missing, and so forth, they immediately move on to the next thing. Like, oh, that didn't work out, okay, then let's move on to this other thing. And so it's like, by moving on so quickly, nothing is being learned. All that is being acquired is this habit to just be on the go and move on to the next thing, and possibly even suppress emotions. Yeah, so honestly, with the moon on water here, this to me feels like a habit. Like you're staying with a habit, a tendency of not looking at things closely, or of avoiding dealing with things. Or I will be honest, with the Three of Wands, I'm even getting this feeling of running away. Like as soon as things start getting a little bit difficult, instead of staying around to deal with the situation, or find ways to improve the situation and so forth, one immediately runs away, moves on to the other thing. Yeah, so there's even this feeling of not sticking with something for too long, or not sticking around long enough to see something through or to work things out. Yeah, so even with routines, health, fitness, I am seeing a situation here in which someone might jump into something like let's say a fitness program or a diet without really knowing much about it first. That's the mystery, the ambiguity of the moon on water, not having enough information about something, but still jumping into it. And then not seeing it through. You know, it's kind of like getting a little too impatient with things. And that's that Three of Wands energy. With fitness here, an example that is coming to mind, it's like someone who is wanting to get results quickly, and so they look into programs that promise quick results. But then when starting one of these fitness programs, they get discouraged fairly easily because they're not seeing the results that they want at a certain amount of time. And so they move on to the next thing. You know, another fitness program that promises faster results, but it ends up being the same thing. Yeah, because with transformation and reverse, it does give this feeling of not allowing for something to fully transform. It's sort of like stopping it midway, and we literally have like a representation of a midway transformation. Yeah, and because the moon on water can also talk about fears and insecurities. I see that by you staying in this situation, if you already have self-sabotaging tendencies, this situation will continue enabling those self-sabotaging tendencies. It will possibly even perpetuate it. Yeah, because I am seeing a desire for growth and expansion, but at the same time, it appears there is a fear of change. There is a fear of tapping into your potential. There is a fear of actually disciplining yourself. You know, like what will happen if I actually get down and serious with something? And I feel like the ultimate fear around this specific situation of like getting serious about something would be a fear of failure, because it's sort of like, if I actually got serious about something and it does not end up working out, then what does that say about me? Whereas if I do things half-assed, kind of, then we're not really sure if I could have made it if I gave it my 100% or not. You know, there's that what if. Maybe I would have made it. Maybe I would have gotten the results I wanted if I had disciplined myself, if I had committed myself 100%. But because I didn't, we'll never know. It's that kind of feeling, like leaving things halfway or not giving your all into something in order to live with that what if, with that ambiguity. It's like there's almost this fear of certainty, this fear of knowing the truth. Yeah, and so I feel like by you staying in this situation, it continues an illusion. I'm now seeing someone in my mind's eye running on a treadmill, and they're holding on to this illusion that they're getting somewhere, but in reality they're running in place because they're running on a treadmill. So it's kind of this feeling of, I'm doing all these things, I'm trying all these things, I am trying to make some kind of changes in my life, but at the same time, I'm not really making any changes. At the same time, I'm not really seeing anything through to see if I do actually get results or not, to see if it actually does work for me or not. Yeah, so it's like by you staying in this situation, there will continue to be mystery. There will continue to be that question of what if. Like nothing being quite certain, nothing being definite, in a sense of this is for me and this is not. This is what I am really good at and this is what I need to improve upon. This is what works for me and this is what does not, and so forth. So with the 6th house representing daily routines, this is making me think of, patterns, habits. So by you staying in a situation, I feel like whatever habits you have currently, you will continue these habits by you staying in this situation. I don't feel like much will change. It might seem like you're trying new things, but I feel like even the new things that you will be trying out, they will still be things that you have done in the past. Maybe they're a little bit different, but they're ultimately the same thing, just with a different face, with a different name, with a different advertisement. So yeah, I feel like in this situation there is an illusion of change when in reality there is just repetition. There is pretty much the same thing, the same patterns, the same habits, the same tendencies repeating themselves over and over and over again. So it's like running on that treadmill. And as mentioned, I am seeing someone avoiding doing the inner work, avoiding what needs to be addressed, avoiding facing some harsh truths. Yeah, because with the egg being here, I feel like a lot of you already know what needs to change, what maybe you need to let go of, or what the solution to something is, but it's like you're not wanting to crack the egg open. Or the other thing I'm seeing with the egg, because eggs represent new life, is like you're kind of avoiding coming out of your shell. You're avoiding seeing what it is that you're capable of. And this is just a belief, right? It's not the truth, the actuality. But I am seeing that some of you do have a belief that you are not capable of much. Or that if you do go out there and apply yourself or give your 100% at something, you will fail. And then that will serve as confirmation of what you've been suspecting all this time. That you don't have it in you, or that you're not good enough, or that you're not capable. But what you don't see is that those are all limited beliefs that are there to hold you back. Like, that's their purpose. It's to hold you back. And by you listening to them, you believing in them, they're fulfilling their purpose. But these beliefs are not a truth. Because remember, the moon on water is all about illusions. It's fears. It's our subconscious fears. So these limited beliefs are simply your subconscious fears that could have come from past experiences where maybe you did experience, let's say, quote unquote failure, or maybe you did make a mistake, or maybe someone shamed you for not doing something perfectly. You know, these could be beliefs that you learned or that were instilled in you. But in actuality, they say nothing about who you truly are and what you're capable of. And of course, right, I'm not going to sugarcoat things and say that whatever it is that you try out, whatever it is that you do, you will succeed at it. Because, you know, it's very possible that you go out and try something new and you might not be good at it the first time around. It might take you some trials and errors before you end up figuring something out or start getting kind of good at it. And you know, that's how it is with pretty much everyone. No one comes out of this life not having made at least one mistake, you know, or what might be considered a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone makes a fool out of themselves at least once in their life. So I feel like by staying in this situation, you will keep yourself in a comfort zone, or you will keep yourself playing small, or you will keep avoiding living your life to the fullest. And what I mean by that is making mistakes, stumbling here and there, making a fool out of yourself every now and then, you know, because life is a roller coaster ride. Things don't always go smoothly. There are going to be some bumps in the road. And I feel like you guys are, by staying in this situation, you will be doing your hardest to keep yourself from experiencing those bumps on the road. But by doing so, you will also keep yourself from experiencing life to the fullest. But now I want to move into what will happen if you choose to move on. So the Archer is the Chariot card in traditional tarot. And this is a card that speaks about victory, overcoming obstacles. It's a card of determination, self-discipline, and it's a card of movement. Very much like the Three of Wands, the Archer can also speak about moving forward. But the Archer moves forward with purpose. The Archer moves forward because they do have a goal in mind. They do have a destination they want to get to. They do have a target they want to aim at. So I do see that by you moving on, you will be finding some structure in your life and applying yourself, because the Archer is all about self-discipline. It's about focus and determination. And look what we have here. We have the Nine of Swords in reverse. And the Nine of Swords upright often indicates anxiety, restless nights, insomnia, fears, and even a decline on mental health or mental well-being. So it's showing up in reverse lets me know that there is healing here, that there is recovery. The Nine of Swords in reverse often indicates reaching out for help and accepting help and or assistance. And look what we have here. We have balance. And this makes me think of inner harmony. This makes me think of finding peace within. And I'm getting so much clarity here from this balance card, like mental clarity. Like the thoughts aren't jumbled up. They're clear. They're organized. So I do see you, as mentioned, finding structure and finding routines and or habits that are more conducive to your growth, that are more healthy and efficient is how it's coming through. In the balance card, we do have this person who appears to be rooted. So this makes me think of being grounded, finding stability, feeling stable. So I'm also seeing mental stability here. And I also see you having a more balanced lifestyle. So if you're struggling between different areas of your life currently, I feel like by you choosing to move on from whatever it is that you're inquiring about, you will be finding that balance between those areas of life, or just finding some form of balance in your life. And not only finding it, but creating and maintaining it. So I'm seeing discipline. You becoming a lot more disciplined. And this is healthy discipline. This is not discipline in terms of self-punishment or self-criticism or being hard on yourself when you don't do something quote unquote right. Because beating yourself up about something that you're working on is counterproductive. And I feel like in this situation, you have come to realize that. Like beating yourself up about things that you are learning, that you are improving upon, isn't very helpful to what it is that you're aiming to do, which is to improve and to grow. Yeah, because we do have flexibility here. So I am seeing you applying a kind of discipline into your life that allows for flexibility, that allows for you to fall and to get back up again, for you to learn, for you to grow. And we do have this energy of adjustment. So if you choose to move on, I do see you making a lot of adjustments in your life. And these adjustments bringing a lot of positive results, or what I'm seeing here is like positive reinforcement. And with the Archer being here, because it does speak about moving forward, but moving forward with focus, I am seeing that by you moving on, you will be doing things that you will see through. Like you will start them and you will see them through till the very end. And it is while you're doing these things that you will be making these adjustments. So it's like before quitting something that isn't working out, you make adjustments to try and make it work. And if after making adjustments, you find that it still doesn't work, then you are able to leave that situation knowing that you did your very best and that it just wasn't it for you. Or instead, it could be, starting something and seeing that it isn't working out for you, and then instead of quitting it or leaving it midway, you choose to make adjustments. And by you making these adjustments, you find that now it's working for you. And so now you are able to see it through with getting some really good results and our outcomes at the end. Yeah, so with this Nine of Swords in reverse, there is a lot of clarity that I see here. Like whatever used to confuse you, whatever felt like it was a mystery to you, you're getting clarity about it. Because I see you working through things. Yeah, and with redirection, I'm now being reminded of like a GPS. We're heading in one direction, but a road is blocked. And instead of giving up on the whole journey, no, we instead find another route. We redirect ourselves and try again. So what I'm seeing that will happen if you choose to move on is you experiencing a lot of trials and errors. But you being okay with that, you learning a lot from that, you growing from that, you finding better clarity and focus from that. And I also see that by you moving forward, there will be more flexibility in your life, or you yourself will become more flexible. Your way of thinking will be more flexible. Yeah, because if currently you struggle with the black and white mentality, like thinking that it can only be one way or the other, then by you moving on, I see you expanding your perception on things. Finding that no, not everything is black and white. It doesn't always have to be one thing or the other. There's a lot going on in between and on the sides. There is more than one way to approach a single situation. And the archer does make me think of someone who has acquired some level of skill or even mastery. So I do see you mastering something if you choose to move on, or becoming quite skillful at something. And I do want to be clear that this skill and or mastery will be the result of hard work, dedication, effort, discipline, and commitment. Because that's what you're applying in this situation. That is what is helping you to see the progress and or see the results that you are seeing here, which I'm seeing them being very positive, and them helping your mental health and mental well-being overall. And also helping in building your confidence. And I'm not sure why, but the archer is making me think of fitness. So because we did have the 6th house here, which talks about health, I do see your health improving overall, not just your mental health, but also your physical health. Yeah, so I am seeing progress here, and I will be honest, I do feel like this progress, it will be gradual. The positive results that you will be seeing here will not be the results of, shortcuts or quick methods. They will be the results of, like I said, discipline and applying yourself and informing yourself about things, learning more as you go. Because I do see you tweaking things. It's kind of like a chemist who's finding a new formula. They don't figure the formula right away. They figure out a formula by tweaking things, by trying over and over again until they find the perfect formula. So that's what I'm seeing here. And the archer, as mentioned, does speak about ambition. So if currently you're not feeling as ambitious, or maybe that's what you're unclear about, like what is your calling, for example, or like what you should focus on, then I am seeing that by you moving on, you will be finding something to focus on and something that you will be passionate about or motivated by. I am seeing motivation here with the archer. And I'm seeing like an ambition within you awakening. And honestly, I'm not quite sure what this ambition will be about. It could be ambition in terms to maybe a career path, for a passion project, for health, mental, physical. It could vary for each one of you, and it could be many different things. It doesn't just have to be one thing, but I definitely do see you being quite ambitious about something, or just ambitious in general. Yeah, and it's so interesting how we have like 2 major arcanas here, but very opposite from one another, because the moon on water, it's all about unclarity, ambiguity, and the archer, it's all about clarity and leaving. We have all this like dust, a dust cloud in the background, so it's like leaving the confusion, the fogginess behind. And then we have like representations of day and night. Yeah, so it does feel like here things are coming into focus. You're regaining your focus. You're feeling more focused here, more determined. Yeah, and I keep thinking of physical fitness. Yeah, so by you moving on, it could be that some of you will start a physical fitness journey and seeing it through and seeing wonderful results, or integrating physical fitness into your lifestyle. But with balance here, this is letting me know that you're not doing anything to extremes, because we do have this energy of balance. So I do see you doing things in moderation, or approaching things with a healthy mindset. Like not expecting the impossible from yourself, not getting carried away by something. Instead I see you taking into consideration what your limits are, and working with yourself, working with your strengths and weaknesses in order to find methods, routines, structures that actually work for you instead of against you. Balance is also making me think of like a balanced meal, balanced diet. It's also making me think of like mindfulness, meditation. So some of you could be starting certain spiritual practices, or starting a meditation practice, or maybe just getting more into mindfulness and actually, sticking with it and applying what it is that you learn into your day-to-day. For those of you who are struggling mentally or with your mental health, if you choose to move on from whatever this is, I do see you reaching out to a professional or getting professional help, like working with a therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist, a counselor, and through that finding a lot of clarity and learning a lot about yourself, and finding techniques that really work for you, as mentioned before, that really help you, I wouldn't say cope, but really help you understand what it is that you're going through, and what it is that your mind has been needing, what it actually needs. And it could also be like what your body, your physical body needs. Because as I was mentioning with what would happen if you choose to stay, I was seeing a lot of like avoidance. So it could be that by you choosing to stay in the situation, you will be avoiding maybe basic needs, or it could be something like avoiding seeing that you do need support, that you are wanting support, that a part of you is wanting support and or help. And by you moving on, I do see you acknowledging this and actually reaching out and or seeking that support, that assistance, that help, and or attending to your basic needs. Yeah, but I am definitely seeing improvement when it comes to your overall health. And with balance, there's this feeling of finding self-assurance is how it's coming through, as well as self-reliance. And these two cards are also giving me vibes of independence, feeling like you can stand on your own 2 feet, feeling secure within yourself, feeling like you can trust yourself. Yeah, and the birds always make me think of like dreams, aspirations, and goals. So I do see you having a lot of goals, a lot of aspirations, as mentioned when I talked about your ambition awakening. So yeah, I do see you pursuing more than one thing. And because we do have the Archer here, it's like you're aiming for one thing at a time. You're pacing yourself. And I will say, I do see you accomplishing your goals. One at a time, but I do see you accomplishing them. And for some of you, one of those goals might actually be finding or having your own place, or having something that you can call your own. And if that's the case, I do see you aiming for that and achieving that. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the Archer or the Chariot is associated with the zodiac sign Cancer. So some of you could be a Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or a water sign, because the moon on water, like I said, is associated with the element of water. So water signs, and that would be Cancer, Pisces, and or Scorpio. And the 6th house is associated with the zodiac sign Virgo. So you could be a water sign or a Virgo sign, Sun, Moon, or Rising. But you don't have to be. But I do want to pull out some extra oracle cards to get a little bit more information about, first, what will happen if you choose to stay. So we have the 5th house with Mars and Leo and the key term egotism. And for what will happen if you choose to move on. we have Sun in Gemini, the 3rd house, with versatility. Versatility is making me think of flexibility. And it's also making me think of like having different goals that you're aiming for. And it's also making me think of having different skill sets, which we kind of touched upon with the Archer. Before I get more into this card, I want to first get into the Egotism card with what will happen if you choose to stay. So yeah, once again, I'm getting a stubborn energy here. And we're seeing how this, I forgot what this creature is called, but this rooster person facing away from this whole situation here. So again, I'm getting avoidance tendencies here. Someone not wanting to see what is going on, someone not wanting to take accountability and or responsibility. Yeah, and because we do have the 5th house here, which is the house of creative arts, hobbies, gambling, and love affairs, it's making me think of short-term gratification. So yeah, I'm seeing that by you staying in this situation, you will be engaging in a lot of short-term gratification, you know, so maybe practicing habits that are not really in the long run good for you, but they do induce some pleasure in the moment. Yeah, because we also have Mars here, which is a planet that is very driven, very passionate. Mars really looks into what is it that drives our motivation for things. And with all this energy, yeah, I see that a lot of the actions you would be taking by staying in this situation would be based on, again, short-term gratification, what brings you pleasure in the moment instead of what will be good for you in the long run. Yeah, and the other thing I'm seeing with egotism is like the energy of someone who is very quick to point where others are doing wrong, but they find it very difficult to see where they need to make some improvements. Yeah, so by you choosing to stay, I am seeing that you might get distracted by others and what's going on in their life, or you might use others as an excuse to not work on yourself or do the inner work, do the inner healing, or take responsibility and accountability for your situation. An example of this would be someone who is very quick to give someone else advice but never ends up taking their own advice, or someone who is always aiming to help others fix their issues, but that takes time away from them to address their own problems and find solutions for them. Yeah, so I am seeing there being a lot of distractions if you do choose to stay in this situation. Yeah, and egotism is once again making me think of like feeding illusions. Feeding illusions that feed the ego. You know, so to give an example of this would be someone who keeps telling themselves, I don't need to do the inner work. I don't need to do any kind of healing, or I don't need help. I don't need anybody's assistance. I'm doing just fine. I'm good. I'm okay. I can handle this. I'm not struggling with anything. When in reality, this person could benefit from some assistance, support, guidance, and so forth. And with versatility, what I'm seeing happening if you choose to move on is, as mentioned, you developing different skill sets, you understanding more about what it is that you're capable of, and finding that you're actually capable of a lot of things, and discovering a lot of hidden talents as well. I see you coming out of your comfort zone. And with Sun in Gemini, I do see you networking quite a bit and making a lot of connections. And what I'm seeing with the 3rd house is you connecting with people who have traveled all over the world, or it could simply be about connecting with people from all over the world. Yeah, and learning a lot from them. Because I am seeing something along the lines of you maybe learning different customs from different cultures. Yeah, because I see you traveling as well. Traveling to foreign places, and learning different things from these travels, and adopting different customs and different styles as well, because I keep seeing in my mind's eye someone's style being a mix of different cultures, of different fashion trends from all over the world. So I not only see you being versatile in like your skill set, but also in the way that you dress, in the way that you present yourself, in your communication as well, because I am seeing some of you possibly even learning a new language or more than one language, because the number 3 showed up here. It's making me think of someone who is trilingual. So you could end up speaking up to 3 different languages. And what is coming through with Sun in Gemini is you being an amazing communicator or an amazing storyteller, because you do have a lot of stories to tell, because you have ventured out into the world and allowed yourself to experience so much. So there will be a lot for you to share. And I'm also seeing that you will definitely be pursuing more than one thing. And I do see you sticking with things long enough to see results and for you to improve upon them. But I also see you having no trouble with letting go of things. You know, seeing when something has reached its end organically and naturally, and being okay with letting it go and or moving on to the next thing, to the next goal, to the next venture. And it's so interesting in the situation of what would happen if you chose to stay. I'm seeing a lot of ego, a lot of pride. And in the situation of what would happen if you choose to move on, I'm seeing healthy confidence. This is someone who is willing to learn and to grow, because they understand that they don't know everything, and that is okay. It's okay to not know everything and not be perfect. Whereas here in the situation of what would happen if you choose to stay, there's this struggle with accepting that it is okay to make mistakes, that it's okay to not be perfect and or ideal all the time. I am seeing that if you choose to move on, there is a huge transformation you will be undergoing and are experiencing. I do feel called to say that if this person who chooses to stay in this situation were to look at this person who chose to move on, they wouldn't recognize themselves in the other, because that's how different they would be. Yeah, and I do feel that if you chose to move on, not only will there be a huge transformation occurring within and in your life, but I also see there being a huge transformation occurring in your physical appearance. Yeah, because again, I'm being brought to the physical body and like fitness. I am seeing a lot of you being quite toned and or discovering the limits of your physical body. It's how it's coming through. Like this flexibility might not only be in your mindset, but it might actually be like how flexible you are with your body. Yeah, so by you choosing to move on, you might end up doing things that you never thought you would be able to do with your physical body. I also see you being a lot more confident about your physical body or physical appearance, or feeling more comfortable in your skin. Yeah, and I'm seeing you not shying away from dressing how you actually want to dress. Whether it be modestly or whether it be like showing some skin. And I do see you having some kind of spiritual practice. And I don't know, I keep being called to this amulet here, and that's making me think of faith for some reason. So I see you having a strong sense of faith in something, and a strong sense of loyalty as well. And these are all things that you already have, but I feel like by you choosing to move on, you will explore them more and recognize them in you a lot better. Yes, but these are all the messages I am seeing here thus far. Things I do want to point out before I sign off are these zodiac signs and numbers. I did mention Cancer with the Archer, as well as water signs with the Moon. We have Virgo with the 6th house. And then we have Leo and Gemini. And for the numbers, we have 2 repeated 3s. and we also have the numbers 5, 6, 7, so we have consecutive numbers, 18, and 9. And we also have 2 repeated 9s, because if we reduce the number 18 by adding up 8 and 1, we have 9. Yeah, so 3 or 9 could be of significance. It could be the month that you were born, or your life path number, or it could be numbers that you see often. Okay, but these are all the messages we have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope it brought some guidance, some clarity. If it did, then please leave a like or a comment. And if you're new to this channel and you want to stick around for more readings with me, Kim, then please do subscribe. I do offer personal readings. All the information is in my website, and the link to my website can be found in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching until the very end, and a huge thank you to all of you who took the time to watch the advertisements, since that is a simple way to support me and to support this channel. So if you did, I truly do appreciate it. And before I sign off, I do want to give thanks to Spirit, who assisted me with delivering these messages to you. Yes, but thank you so much for sticking around till the very end, and I am wishing you a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on when you're watching. And until the next moment, bye bye. Hello you guys who chose group 3, the Milkvetch. Bienvenidos to your reading. So if you guys believe in spirit guides, in guardian angels, and so forth, I do want to let you know that you do have a being of light watching over you at this moment. They seem to be working with you very, very closely. This could also be a loved one who is on the other side. Their spirit, their presence, their essence, they are with you. And also, I do feel called to remind you or advise you that if you have a plant in your home or in your living area and you have not yet watered them, to please go and water them. They appear to be thirsty. I know that was a very random message, but it is the message that came through in connecting with the energy of this group. Also, this could be a metaphor for self-nurture and self-care, because you, very much like a plant, need to be watered and tended to and taken care of every now and then. Yeah, so remember to take care of your body, stay hydrated, give your physical vessel some rest when it's asking for it, and also remember to nurture and water your spirit, your mind. Learn something new that enriches your mind, and or do some kind of activity that is just for your pleasure, that is just for your enjoyment, because that is needed. In general, it is needed. Everybody needs to water not only their physical body, but also their spirit, their mind. Okay, just a quick disclaimer. This reading isn't intended to tell you what to do or to tell you what decision to make. This reading is simply intended to give you as much information as possible as to what will be your experience if you do choose to stay versus what will be your experience if you chose to move on. Also, if you'd like, you can adapt this reading to better suit your needs and or your situation. So for example, if you are at this moment deciding between 2 options, you can turn this into an option A versus option B reading, or a what happens if I say yes versus what happens if I say no kind of reading. But before I start pulling out cards, let me quickly explain the layout of this reading. So on this side of the table, I will be pulling out cards to get information on what would happen if you chose to stay. And on this side of the table, I will be laying out cards to get information on what would happen if you choose to move on. Okay? So let us first pull out a card to see what will be your experience if you chose to stay. So 2 cards fell out, and we have the Ancestor, which is the Hierophant in traditional tarot. And we also have the Eight of Bows, the Hearthfire, which is the Eight of Wands in traditional tarot. And now I'm going to pull out a card to find out what will happen if you chose to move on. Okay. And we have the Great Bear, which is the Judgment card in traditional tarot. And it did fall out in reverse. And now I'm going to pull out some clarifiers. So what will happen if you choose to stay? Okay, so we have Venus with balance, love, self-love, beauty, money, aesthetic, creativity, and relationships. And it did fall out in reverse, so that's how I'm going to take it. And what will happen if you choose to stay? We have Pluto with transformation, mystery, obsession, power, control, and destruction. So, put that here. What will happen if you chose to stay? Ooh. Okay, and we have grounded. And if you choose to move on, we have goodness. Okay, so interesting. Okay, and the last clarifier. If you chose to stay, what will be your experience? We have the Chariot upright with control, focus, and willpower. If you chose to move on, ooh, okay. We have the Seven of Cups in the horizontal position. I do read cards when they fall out in this position. But I do want to read out the messages intended for this card when it falls in the upright. So we have wishful thinking, endless possibilities, and fantasy. And when it falls out in the reverse, we have lack of options, avoiding issues, and reality check. Okay, let us begin by looking into what will happen if you chose to stay. So the ancestor or the Hierophant normally represents all that is traditional and or conventional. It is often a card that indicates marriage, long-term commitment, and it is also a card that symbolizes knowledge, beliefs. So what I am seeing if you chose to stay is a lot of stability, security, and honestly, with the Eight of Bows being here, all these people gathering together around the Hearthfire, I'm also seeing community and family. Yeah, the Grounded card and the Hearthfire are making me think of a close-knit community, having strong bonds and or relationships, or more like being part of a very exclusive group or a very tight-knit group of people. So with the ancestor being here, an example that is coming to mind, it's like being part of a spiritual community, but it does feel very exclusive to me. Like I see you being part of something that might be very hard to get into, or whoever is already part of this thing, they have been part of it for a really, really long time. So I'm also thinking about a family that is very close to their customs, their traditions. Therefore, only those who share in the same customs or traditions can be accepted into the family. Yeah, because that's the feeling I'm getting with Grounded. It's like, it's only us. It will always only be us. Yeah, I know, it's quite peculiar, but it's like, if you have any like friendships, all your friendships will be within this group. It's kind of unheard of to have relationships and our friendships outside of this group or outside of this community. And it's so interesting how we have all these messages about community and really strong bonds and relationships, and then Venus fell out in reverse, which is a planet that talks about relationships. So I'm picking up on a bit of a lackluster in this situation. Like, this situation promises and delivers everything that is conventionally sought out. You know, like, for example, stability, security, community, purpose, a place at the table is what is coming through, like a specific role, which is why I mentioned purpose. It offers all of that, but still, at the end of the day, it feels like something is missing, or you might feel like something is missing. Because even though you have everything that you need, you feel like you're missing what it is that you truly want. So it's like this situation delivers everything that you need to thrive, but it doesn't offer you the thing that you want, the thing that lights you up inside. Yeah, because with Chariot, the Chariot does represent success, victory. And the Eight of Bows is known as a very positive card. It often represents good news. And what I'm seeing here in specific is celebration. Like, there's always something going on. There's travel, there's merriment, there's fun. There's always something exciting going on. But with Venus in reverse, it's almost like whatever is exciting to others might not be so exciting to you. This is very much giving me the vibe of doing and obtaining everything you were expected to do and to achieve in life. But at the end of the day, it was something that was expected of you, right? It wasn't something exactly that you were wanting. It's more like the life that was dreamed for you. It is the thing that you grew up believing was the thing that you were supposed to strive for. So this is not to say that there won't be happiness in this situation, because I did mention there's a lot of joy and merriment with the Eight of Bows. But I do feel like there will be a lot of moments in which you might feel a bit disconnected from, let's say, this community or from this environment. I'm not sensing any regret here because, like I said, I don't see you disliking this situation. That's not the feeling I'm getting. But it's more like I'm seeing someone who is doing their best to put on a happy face, to show that there isn't something that they feel that they are missing, because they don't want to appear ungrateful. Yeah, and with Venus, it could very well be that there is something that you want to pursue. There is something that you want to do that may be quite different from what is expected in this community, in this tight group, or what was expected of you. And you not pursuing this, or you not doing this thing, is what is bringing about this lackluster. Yeah, because it feels with Venus in reverse that there's a lack of passion. You know, there's joy, there's happiness, there's contentment. Yeah, that's the overall feeling here. Like, there's contentment in this situation, but there's a lack of passion. And it might be that passion that you're craving and are missing. So this could be a situation in which maybe you chose to let go of a dream, or chose to let go of your own individual passions and aspirations in order to take on a very specific role. Because there's also this feeling of formality with the Chariot and the Ancestor. Maybe some of you would be needing to let go of your own traditions, of your own customs, in order to fit in or be part of this community or this tight-knit group. But I do feel like there is something that you're letting go of by choosing to stay here. And it does feel like it's that part of you that is passionate and free-spirited and adventurous. And with Venus in reverse, I would even say sensual. Yeah, it sort of feels like putting a part of yourself away, a part of yourself that is super crucial to your very being, to who you are as a person. And so, you know, by putting this part of yourself away, it's gonna result in you feeling a sense of loss or feeling like something is missing. Yeah, because we do have self-love here with Venus, and this just makes me think of like wholeness, you know, loving all of who you are, accepting all of who you are, not just certain parts of you. But I feel like with this card falling out in reverse, it's like you're selecting certain parts of yourself that fit a role that you're expected to play, and leaving the rest behind or locking the rest away, and that resulting in a feeling of loss or a feeling of not being whole or completely present, which is why we have grounded here. Yeah, it kind of gives me this feeling of living someone else's dreams, fulfilling somebody else's wishes, or doing the thing that is expected of you, but not exactly the thing that you would want to be doing. Or like I said, this could simply be a situation in which, yes, this is everything you wanted, but still there is something more. There's just a missing piece, and you're really longing for that. And everything would feel whole and complete if you just had that missing piece, that missing link, if you were simply permitted to do that one thing that you really want to do. And it could be like, have something of your own, create something of your own, or pursue the career path that you want. Or it could be about, you feeling that it is okay to be all of who you are, to be your passionate, creative, free-spirited self. Yeah, because with the ancestor being here, this is all about conformity, right? So it's this feeling of you're conforming to something, and by doing so, this free-spirited energy is not exactly allowed. Or that's how you might feel it to be, that it wouldn't be appropriate for you to be this free-spirited, or for you to be as creative as you want to be, or for you to express yourself fully. Yeah, it's like you're doing your best to meet certain expectations in this situation. And so you might feel a bit restrictive. But who knows? I mean, I feel like there's something that you're not seeing in this situation. Maybe there is some assumptions here, because I do feel like what it is that you're craving and are missing, you can find it in this situation. It's just that at this moment you feel like it's not available to you, or like you're not allowed. But I don't know, if you look more into it, maybe if you ask, if you actually try it out, you might find that it's okay. Like, it's okay for you to pursue what it is that you want to pursue. It is okay for you to be entirely yourself. It's okay. Because I am sensing a lot of support and acceptance with the Eight of Bows, especially with grounded. Like, the people who are around you seem to be very protective of, yes, of the community, their traditions, values, or maybe rules, but also of each other. So yeah, maybe it's about taking a risk, or creating some changes, because the number 5 in and of itself is a number of change, unexpected changes. So maybe you are the one who could bring about unexpected changes into this community, or into this situation that hasn't seen any change for a really long time. And who knows, you might be surprised as to how accepted these changes that you're bringing forth actually are. Yeah, so maybe it's all a matter of trying or taking a risk. Yeah, but I will say overall I'm getting a feeling of contentment and conformity in this situation, and there being a lack of passion or a lack of fulfillment. You needing to leave something that is very important to you behind, or needing to kind of lock it away. Okay, and now let us look into what will happen if you chose to move on. So with the 7 of Cups having fallen out in the horizontal position, when cards fall out in this direction, I personally interpret it as either indicating a blocked and or stagnant energy, or the foundation in which the overall energy is being grounded on. So I'm actually seeing this as the foundation of this overall energy. And so what I'm seeing here is that there seems to be a lot of indecision or confusion, because either there is a lot of options available, or there is a lack of options. In this situation, I feel like you will really be called to go within in order to find out what it is that you truly want and desire. Because the Great Bear, the Judgment card, when it is upright, it speaks about awakenings, transformation, but it did fall out in reverse. So this lets me know that there will be a time of self-reflection here, of time of going within. And this self-reflection, going within, it feels like it's not a decision that you're making. It's not exactly by choice, but it's a necessity, because we do have Pluto here. And Pluto is a very strong energy. I don't know much about astrology, so the interpretations I'm giving based on these cards are coming more from intuition. And what I'm sensing from Pluto is that it calls upon. It's kind of very much like the Tower in tarot. It brings about the changes that we might be running away from, or we might not necessarily ourselves be making, because these are changes that are needed. Yeah, so Pluto, very much like the Tower card in tarot, shatters illusions and destroys anything that is not stable and or is no longer in alignment with you and who you are becoming. So I am sensing a lot of uncertainty here. This is the period in which one is in the midst of major transformation and major change. And when we are in the midst of those major transformations and or changes, things feel so uncertain. Nothing is clear to us because we're standing right in between an ending and a new beginning. Because that new beginning that we're about to step into, it's barely being created, right? You're creating it as you're learning more and more about yourself and what it is that you want. So I do see this being I would say kind of a dark period. And I only say dark period because, nothing is clear at this moment. It's like you will be inside of this cave, introspecting, self-reflecting, meditating on what it is that you want to do next, what it is that you want to pursue. What is it that is calling out to you? And it's so interesting because in this section of the reading of what would happen if you chose to stay, we were talking about how some of you could be feeling like something is missing because you do feel like there is something that you need to be doing, something that you need to be pursuing, that in this situation you feel like you can't pursue, or you can't set out to find out what that thing is. What is it that is calling to you? What is it that is missing? And if this situation, if you choose to move on, this is you going out or going within to find out exactly what that is that you felt was missing. What is the thing that you are feeling called to do? What is the thing that you feel you are meant to be doing? So this is the soul searching. This is the learning the major lessons. This is the doing the intense shadow work. This is the getting to know yourself. This is you letting go of other people's expectations of what you need to be, of who you need to be, of what you need to do and or achieve in order to find out who it is that you truly are and what is it that you want to achieve. Not so much what you think you should do, but more what it is that you want to do. Yeah, so in the situation of what would happen if you chose to stay, it feels like this is pretty much planned for you. This is reminding me of like a practical life plan. I am going to graduate from high school and then go to college and get a degree and then get a 9-to-5, and then I'm going to find a perfect partner, and I'm going to marry and start a family and dedicate myself to my family and see my family prosper and grow, and so forth and so forth. That's like the traditional family, traditional values scenario. And this is just an example. It doesn't have to be your exact situation. Yeah, so it's like all this was planned from the very beginning. This is what was expected of you from the very beginning. This was very much laid out for you, and it was very easy. I wouldn't say easy, right? But you knew what was next. It was a plan that you could follow because you knew what was next. You knew what was expected of you next. And you're checking off all the boxes. You're going about each step in the plan perfectly. If you chose to stay, like everything's unfolding perfectly as expected. And then in the situation of what will happen if you chose to move on, this is you questioning everything, which will lead to a lot of confusion and uncertainty because it's questioning everything you thought you knew. And possibly finding out with Pluto here that a lot of what you thought you wanted isn't actually what you want and or need. Or your values start changing. Yeah, so the Great Bear also talks about rebirth. And I feel like what is happening with the Great Bear in reverse is that you're going through a symbolic death. You know, the old you is dying in order for a new you to be reborn. Yeah, there's this feeling of starting over and possibly feeling a bit lost for a while, but it is because you are going through that symbolic death. You know, you are relearning yourself and possibly reteaching yourself. You know, you're kind of unlearning a lot of things in order to learn more about yourself. And I am seeing you experiencing a pause by you moving on. So this could be, you know, feeling like not much is going on in your life or not having much going on in your life, you know, because with the Seven of Cups being in the horizontal position, it does feel like you're in this bit of a limbo for a while as you try to figure out, like, you know, what is it that you want to do. And I do see you going off on your own possibly. Whereas here in the situation of what would happen if you chose to stay, I'm seeing a strong sense of community and you being surrounded by people almost constantly possibly. Here I'm seeing more of a solitary journey. So you could be, if you choose to move on, letting go of a lot of connections and our relationships, or it might result in you being cut off by a certain community, or maybe you are choosing to move away from a community. I do want to pull out some extra oracle cards to get a little bit more information. On what will happen if you chose to stay. So we have the 7th house with Saturn and Libra and devotion. Yeah. So I'm seeing you devoting yourself to something or to someone. This could even be like beliefs, a community as mentioned. But by you devoting yourself to this, it feels like, it almost feels like a part of you needs to be forgotten. A part of you needs to be locked away. And with the sun and the moon, I'm seeing partnership here. So for some, this could be talking about marriage because the 7th house is the house of long-term partnerships, commitments, marriage, contracts. Yeah, this does give me the feeling of like making a commitment, saying yes to something, knowing that you would have to let go of something of your own. And with Saturn being here, Saturn is the planet of discipline, of structure, rules and regulations, boundaries and responsibilities. Yeah, so it does seem like there's a lot of lines here placed around you or in front of you that you can't cross. Like there could be a lot of limitations here, a lot of restrictions, like, or as mentioned, there will be a lot of things that will be expected of you that could feel quite restrictive at times. I also feel like there might be a lot of people pleasing going on in this situation, like being very cautious of others or often preoccupying yourself with how you are seen by others. And I am sensing this overall desire to please, to play a role correctly, meet expectations. And because I did mention a plan being laid out for you, I do get the feeling that you staying in the situation, you will have some kind of schedule that you will need to follow. Or you will be given certain responsibilities that you will be expected to meet. It does feel like things, I don't know, it just feels like things are planned out for you here. Like you don't really have to ever be in the 7 of Cups energy wondering what you should do next or what is expected of you next because you already know. You know, it's kind of like when you enter a course in a university. And on the first day, you're given the syllabus, so you know what this course is going to entail. You know what will be expected of you. You know how you will be graded. All you need to do now is follow through. You know, that's kind of the feeling I'm getting here. It's like you're getting a syllabus, so you know what you need to do, what on what days, and like your main responsibility is to be on track. Yeah, and it's like there's so much discipline going on here that there's no room, or it feels like there's no room for spontaneity, there's no room for recklessness, there's no room for mischievousness. At least that's how it's feeling. But again, overall there is a strong feeling of stability and security. Like you never have to worry about there not being food on the table or about not being enough money to pay the bills. You know, like your basic needs will be provided for. You will be provided for. And whatever the situation is, it is long lasting. So, for example, just an example of this is a marriage. Committing to someone, this commitment will be long term. It will be long lasting, like a long lasting marriage. If this is you committing to a career or a profession, this would be a career profession that might take years to complete. You know, like what comes to mind is the field of medicine, becoming a doctor, a surgeon. If this is committing to a religion, this is becoming devoted to that religion. Okay, but now I'm going to pull out a card, an extra oracle card for what will happen if you chose to move on. And we have, well, the 12th house with Mercury and Pisces and the key term inspiration. So this is the complete opposite of the devotion card. So Pisces energy is all about creativity, inspiration, imagination, and romance as well. So with inspiration, if you choose to move on, I see you exploring your creative side, allowing yourself to be more creative. The 12th house is the house of the unseen. It's the house of the subconscious mind. So this reaffirms the messages that were coming through with the Great Bear in reverse and the goodness card. I definitely do see you going within, possibly even doing some shadow work, really tapping into your subconscious to see what limited beliefs you're holding on to, if there are any, to find out what your fears and insecurities are, to see what it is that you're hiding, what is it that you don't want to see, accept, and or acknowledge about yourself, to find out if there are any emotional wounds or any traumas, in order to bring them up to the surface, to acknowledge them and start healing them. And with this person in this beautiful blue dress, by you choosing to move on, you will definitely be allowing for your free-spirited nature to come through. Yeah, it's like I see the part of you that maybe you were suppressing or you were being asked to lock away come out. And this is the part of you that you're getting reconnected to and getting acquainted with and integrating back into you. Yeah, but I definitely do see you exploring more of your creative side, tapping more into your imagination and asking yourself a lot of important questions. There's a lot of asking and questioning going on here. But I will say with Mercury and Pisces, there will be a lot of confusion because again, you're figuring out what is true and what isn't true, what it is that you do want and what it is that you thought you should want. So if you choose to move on, I'm not seeing there being any plan. I'm not seeing there being anything certain and or concrete. There's a lot of like figuring things out as you go. There is a lot of mystery. You know, this is literally stepping into the unknown. I don't see this being the situation for everyone. Remember, this is a general reading, but I do see a period of unemployment for some, possibly not knowing if you want to pursue higher education or you want to go back to school or not. Like I said, some of you could go through a hermit phase or a hanged man phase where things might feel or will be a bit slow moving or possibly even stagnant for a while. And it's because this period isn't one of, let's say, exactly taking action, but it's more of like going within and doing that inner healing, asking yourself the important questions in order to gain the clarity that you need in order to start coming up with a plan, in order to know what is the next step to take, or to find that motivation to take that next step. But with inspiration, I'm seeing a lot of exploration. You know, there could be a lot of trial and error going on here, where you will be trying out new things in order to find out if it is the thing for you, where you will be interested in more than one thing. Maybe that's why we have the 7 of Cups here, because there might be a lot of options. There could be a lot of things that you do want to try out, learn more about, look more into, and you will be doing that. You are in the midst of writing your own story or coming up with a plot for your story or for the next chapter in your life. Yeah, some of you could take on some spiritual practice with goodness here and inspiration. or you could even be exploring or looking more into new spiritual beliefs, religions, philosophies. With Mercury being here, I do see you guys investigating a lot or reading a lot, learning new things. Some of you could even be exploring writing. Maybe for some, you have always been interested in writing or in literature or in journalism is also what is coming through. Others of you could be interested in psychology, maybe learning more about the mind. Or you could be interested in or looking more into mysticism, the occult, esoteric, because Pluto is associated with the zodiac sign Scorpio, as Scorpio is all about going in depth. Yeah, which is why I mentioned journalism. Some of you might be really good investigators or at getting information, like researching. And with this building in the background here, yeah, some of you could actually be pursuing higher learning. Or maybe you could be finding out that that's not what you want to do, actually. Then maybe you want to learn not through an institution, but actually learn through experience. Like having first-hand experiences or learning through living is the other vibe I'm getting here. Like I'm being reminded of Jack Dawson. Oh yeah, I'm being reminded of Rose and Jack Dawson from the movie Titanic. In the situation of what would happen if you chose to stay is Rose before Jack, and in the situation of what would happen if you chose to move on, it's Rose once meeting Jack Dawson, or it's embodying more of like Jack Dawson's energy, like constantly transforming, constantly learning more about themselves, never staying in one place for too long because there's always something more to explore. Yeah, but definitely this feels like Rose once she meets Jack, you know, like questioning. Is the life that I have always known, is it the life that I want for myself for the rest of my life? Yeah, as mentioned with Venus, I feel like you are free-spirited. I feel like you're very passionate. You do have a lot of interests and you have a very bountiful imagination. There's so much creative energy that you have yet to tap into. Yeah, but I'm going to start wrapping up your reading because I feel like if I continue, I'll just start rambling. I do want to say something with if you choose to move on. Again, this might not be for everyone, right? So take it how it resonates. But I am seeing you experiencing maybe financial hardships, because I did mention how some of you could be unemployed for a while. Yeah, you could be living paycheck by paycheck for a while, or there could be moments of uncertainty when it comes to like finances. But I do see this being for a while. Whereas here, if you chose to stay, I am seeing you, like I said, you will never go without. So I am seeing financial stability and security in this situation. Okay, but things I do want to point out before I end this reading are the zodiac signs in case they are of significance and relevance for some of you guys. So the Chariot is associated with the zodiac sign Cancer, and the ancestor is associated with the zodiac sign Taurus. And then we have Libra here with the 7th house. Venus is often associated with Libra and Taurus again. So we have double Taurus energy. Then we have Pisces, and the Judgment is associated with Libra, I believe. So yeah, we have double Taurus and double Libra. So some of you could be a Taurus, Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or a Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or someone who is playing a significant role in your life could have one of these placements. We also have Saturn in Libra and Mercury in Pisces. And then for numbers, we have repeated sevens, because the Chariot is also the 7th major arcana of the deck. So we have 3 sevens. The number 7 could be of significance. Maybe some of you were born on the month of July. And then we do have the number 5, 8, 12, and 20. Okay, but these are all the messages we have for you guys. If you enjoyed this reading, if it brought some guidance, some clarity, then please leave a like or a comment. And if you're new to this channel and you want to stick around for more readings with me, Kim, then please do subscribe. I do offer personal readings. All the information is in my website, and the link to my website can be found in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching until the very end, and a huge thank you to all of you who took a moment to watch the advertisement, since that is a simple way to support me and to support this channel. So if you did, I truly do appreciate it. Oh, and before I sign off, I do want to give a thanks to Spirit, who assisted me with delivering these messages to you. Yeah, but that is all for now. I'm wishing you a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on when you're watching this video, and until the next moment, bye bye!